Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. This side Priya Bhatia, and in this specific video, we will be discussing about another amazing topic with respect to data science specific job roles. I have seen so many learners who have so much confusion regarding this specific question that Priya, what are the different positions we have in data specific job role? I should not say data science specific, but it should be data specific, I would say. Why? Because there are different positions in the organization, and people are very confused with the kind of work which we're supposed to do with respect to every position. For example, we have data analyst, we have data scientist, then we have ML engineer, we have computer vision engineer, we have big data engineer. So there are so many different positions we do have. So many people are quite confused nowadays. Generative AI is quite booming, so we have Gen AI specific positions also in the company. And by the way, these positions varies from company to company. So the number one thing, whenever you are applying for any of the positions, always try to refer the JD or try to ask to the HR with respect to the requirements, with respect to the kind of work which they are expecting from you, so that there will be no confusion, right? That's the very first thing. And apart from that, in this specific video, I will try to give you a generic idea that what are the different job roles we have and what is the difference between every job role. So I hope that today's video you will find it very helpful, and in terms of applying in future positions whenever you will switch from one company to another, these videos will be, I think, really helpful for everyone. So without further ado, let's get started. I hope that everyone will be able to see my screen. Always remember, first of all, before jumping towards directly the job roles, uh, I'm not sure how many of you are aware that whenever we are talking about data science specific per se, depending upon what kind of data set you are dealing with, your domain will get changed. For example, whenever I'm talking about data set, so in a layman term, if I'll try to give you the explanation, I'm trying to divide my data into three different categories. One is what I'm calling it as a numeric data, where we are dealing with numbers. For example, the data which you usually see in the banking domains, right? After that, we have image specific data. For example, the data which you will see in the problems of face detection. I hope you have solved these kind of problems as well. Or you must have seen that in a smartphones, automatically by detecting the face, the phone will get opened up. It's a kind of a password for our phone. Similarly, apart from numeric and image specific data set, we do have a textual data. And again, you must have seen textual specific data also. Let me give you one again simple, example for that. For example, let's say I want to analyze the sentiments. So sentiment analysis is a very common example of textual data, where let's say if anyone is commenting on my LinkedIn post, for example, so let's say they are saying that this post gives me inspiration. So that's kind of a positive sentiment. But if let's say someone is saying that this post is really bad, so that is a negative sentiment automatically. So at any point of time, what kind of data set you are dealing with, depending upon that scenario, in your data science, different positions or different space we have. For example, with respect to numeric data, we have a role of machine learning engineer. Now again I am repeating this part, that whatever things I am saying in a generic manner. But sometimes what happened specifically in startup space, that sometimes they're hiring for ML engineer, but they're expecting you to know the portion of deep learning and NLP as well. But usually that is the generic scenario which usually happens whenever you're dealing with image specific data. So we have a domain of deep learning, which you should have a great expertise of, and computer vision, CV, which we usually called as computer vision. So here we have a concepts of neural network, different architectures we have, convolutional neural network, known CNN based architectures, right? After that, we have textual data, for which we have a space of natural language processing, which we call as NLP, natural language processing. So you must have heard of the tools like ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT, the tools like Google Gemini. So all these tools are the examples of domain comes under the category of NLP, where specifically these tools are the best examples of the domain of generative AI, Gen AI. Let me give you a brief context of Gen AI also. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. Wherever you will observe that my model is generating the results, and it is automatically generating the output in the textual manner. For example, in ChatGPT, we are writing one prompt, one question, and as per that question, it is automatically generating some kind of textual output. So that is what is a domain comes under NLP. Under that, we have umbrella of Gen AI, okay, generative AI, generating some output. So that is the overall idea. Now, coming again back to the job roles that we are talking about, usually whenever I would suggest to the learners or the beginners, if let's say you are in known programming background, okay, you are from known programming background and you have till so far never ever done a coding part, right? You are from completely known programming background. So the very first job role, which will be very, very easy for you to crack, but again, because it's easy for everyone, so it's highly competitive, is the job role of data analytics. Now here the main key skill is to analyze the data, is to interpret the data in an appropriate manner and provide actionable insights. Provide actionable insights so that it will be really helpful for the entire company altogether and will be able to generate the revenue out of it. So that is the main purpose of the people who are under the data analytics position. Now, the important thing which you have to understand here, that to get a great expertise over data analytics job role, there are specific technical skills which is required, which is specifically, I would say, you can talk about SQL plays a very important role. Statistics plays a very important role. After that, Python is something where you will not write too much code here, but definitely whatever code is required. For example, in the Python frameworks, we have NumPy, we have Pandas, we have Seabone, we have Matplotlib. All of these frameworks are very, very important to understand, right? Matplotlib. Apart from this, you should have a great knowledge of business intelligence tools, in which usually you will see, again, varies from companies to companies. Some companies prefer Power BI and some companies are working with Tableau. Apart from this, you will observe MS Excel plays a very, very crucial role for the people who are working in this specific job role, because they will on a daily basis works with a data set, and most probably the data will be stored in the form of an Excel sheet. So you are working with that data. Definitely you should know all the keywords, all the commands, all the functions, pivot tables, pivot charts for visualization per se. Everything you should be aware about. Now, this is the very first important job role which we have in the market. And whenever you will search for data analytics job roles via LinkedIn or via Naukri or be it any other platform, always remember this specific position of data analytics will get changed as and when you will change the domain. Data analytics is a generic term. This is a generic term. But now this thing many people don't know. For example, if let's say you want to enter into healthcare domain, so search for a keyword in your, whenever you're searching for a job, search for maybe healthcare data analytics. So you might find the positions on the basis of that. If let's say you are from HR domain and you want to see with respect to HR, so you can search for HR data analytics. You are in a supply domain, supply chain data analytics. What I'm trying to convey over here is that depending upon different domains, in every organization, the data analytics job role is different. Their naming convention is different. So please try to make sure that you will check with respect to different positions in the organization, with respect to different space, different domains. And let's suppose if, let's say, you are having a great experience of HR, and now you are someone who wants to enter into data specific domain. So try to enter into HR analytics, because your experience will also count, and that will plays a very critical role in terms of shortlisting you. So that is the tip which I want to give to everyone. After this specific part, the second job role. So this is the very first job role which is easier to crack as comparable to other job roles. By the way, in all of these job roles, definitely in the starting rounds to shortlist the candidates, DSA plays a very important role. I always usually say on my channel this specific thing, so I won't repeat again and again, but always make sure, be it any position, whether it's related to data specific job role or web development, or be it any other domain, always remember DSA is something which you don't have to ignore. Otherwise, no one cares about your expertise until or unless you don't know the foundations first, right? And specifically product-based companies, that is for sure. Second important category of job role which you will see in the industries is data scientist. Now, usually I highly suggest to everyone that, let's say you are from non-programming background and you shifted to data analytics job role, be it any domain. Afterwards, try to spend few years and then switch to data scientist, because this is where the actual code work will be there. You will see end-to-end pipelines of machine learning or deep learning. Now, it depends on whatever kind of a dataset you're dealing with. As you remember, in the starting of the session itself, I told you, in data science specific job role, we have different positions also. And depending upon what kind of data you are dealing with, you have a separate position inside that. So data scientist is a generic term where they're expecting you to know or have an awareness about machine learning also, deep learning also, NLP also. So that whatever task they will provide you, whatever dataset they will provide you, you will be easily able to work with that. And it also depends on again, the domain which you are working with. For example, in banking domain, if you are getting a position of data scientist, most probably you will work in machine learning part itself. In healthcare domain, if you're getting a position of data scientist, most probably you might either work with ML specific part or you will work with DL specific part, because in healthcare domain, you might deal with the images also, you might deal with the numeric numbers also with respect to how the patient data looks like and what kind of healthcare problem you are solving. And one more thing, usually people don't easily prefer to go with deep learning as it requires huge resources. But if, let's say, the data is quite complex and data set is quite huge, in that scenario only people will jump from ML space to DL space. Otherwise, if data is not that much complex or is not that much huge, and we want to restrain with the resources also, definitely people go and solve with the machine learning ensemble techniques. So that is something which is very, very important. Now, whatever be the technical skill set, I told you, whether it be a SQL, whether it be a stat, whether it be a Python, all of these things are important. But apart from this, so all the DA technical skills, whatever we have discussed, you should be pretty much aware. Yes, if you're not aware about business intelligence tools, dashboarding and everything, that is completely fine. People don't take care of that part, and even you don't need to do the dashboarding thing. You have a separate team working for that. But if you have the knowledge of that as well, that's a obviously plus point. Apart from this, the other thing which you should know very, very carefully is the algorithmic part. And when I'm saying algorithmic part, you should know the mathematical foundation of that as well, the mathematical part also, plus the implementation part also. If, let's say, you need to implement the code from scratch, so you should be in a situation that you will be easily able to do the implementation for the same. Usually people have a habit of importing sklearn libraries and directly implement it, they know that, and they easily able to give the deliverables also. And when we're working with the companies, we have a habit, right? We have a strict deadlines and we always focus on deliverables to be done. But on the same part, I would highly suggest to everyone that please try to focus on the mathematical part also. Try to spend some time whenever you're working with any new algorithm, because whenever you will refer any research papers, you will always see for every algorithm, we do have a separate mathematics. And when I'm saying mathematics, probability, stats, linear algebra plays a very important role. If you are someone who is interested in knowing all the in-depth mathematics part, I am also covering up, starting my boot camp from 2nd of September, specifically for those people who are really interested towards what is the specific maths required for data science per se. There were many requests I got, and because of which I designed a curriculum where we are covering up a specific mathematics requirement. See, we don't want to have a master's in maths. We just want to learn that mathematics which will be really helpful to build end-to-end projects, and that is what we are covering up in that specific course. You can just check out the description of this video, and whatever detail is required, you will be able to get on the page itself. Still, if you have any issues, you can directly connect with me via email, or you can send me a connection request via LinkedIn. I am active in both the platforms and definitely will revert back to you. Now, after that, mathematics is again we have done. Apart from this, definitely you should be aware about the deployment part, where, if let's say you have built the algorithms, you will be able to get amazing results. So how basically we can deploy it, that is also knowledge is required. After this, the third space that we have is a data engineering job role. In few organizations, we have a space of big data engineers also, one and the same thing. So data engineering, or you will say big data engineer, one and the same thing. So in this specific job role, the important tech stack which is required is big data, as you have seen. So when I'm saying big data, it means that we have a volume of data. And when we have a volume of data, we need to focus on how basically we will be able to store that big data and how we'll be able to process that big data. So basically you need to curate a complete data pipeline end to end. And this is not an easier task. Again, requires a coding part also. Again, requires a knowledge of SQL also, because you will be writing a lot of SQL commands to fetch the data. When I'm saying data, it can be available in different resources also, different platforms also, and you need to fetch from every platform and store it in one platform. Usually, we have Hadoop for the storing part per se, so you should know the end-to-end idea about that. For processing per se, we have Spark, which will be able to efficiently handle everything and process the data. Apart from this, nowadays, companies are moving towards cloud-specific platforms. And when you are applying for data engineering specific job role, you should be aware about at least one platform, maybe AWS, maybe GCP, maybe GCP Azure or GCP, developed by Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. So at least one platform you should have a great expertise of. Many companies and many startups, I would say, currently using AWS. So if you are someone who is just starting it out, you can directly start with AWS, and maybe definitely in future, if you want to switch, it would be easy for you to get the idea if you know already one platform. So this is the overall idea behind the different job roles. Again, in data scientist itself, as I told you, we can have ML engineer, we can have depending upon what company you are applying, DL or CV engineer. We can have NLP engineer, right? NLP engineer. Nowadays, though, I have seen that the positions are coming up for a Power BI developer also in data analytics space. So there can be multiple positions with respect to every space, but always remember, all of these positions are the subparts of these three job roles which I'm talking about: data analytics, data scientist, and big data engineer. So when we're talking about DSA requirement with respect to these job roles, always make sure at least you should know easy to intermediate level of DSA. To be very frank, I have given the interviews for data science position in companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft also. And I'm sharing from my experience, every company have asked me DSA. So please make sure you will, not avoid this specific mistake, because some people feel that what is the requirement? This is genuinely the requirement, first of all, to crack the interviews. And also, I would say from my experiences that with the sound knowledge of DSA, getting the better understanding of algorithms in the data science space will definitely help you out. So from my experience, it's important. Again, people have different perspective, might be. If you have, you can let me know in the comment section. But all of these things I'm sharing with respect to whatever experiences I have gained so far. So this is the overall idea about today's part. If you find this video insightful, please try to share this video with everyone, specifically for the people who are beginners. And I have seen there is a lot of confusion in the market, and they're really scared. They don't even know from where we should start on. I think this video will give you a clear-cut idea and will definitely help you out in your further future job roles. With this, best of luck for your job finding journey, and I'll see you all very soon in the upcoming videos.